Good evening. You know what the fuck that noise is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the dragon energy cracking into the natty light.
That's the sound of beer can opening, actually.
The first natty light of a delightful evening here. The last few moments of April 16th, 2019, getting ready to tick over to April 17th, 2019. Happy Wednesday morning, you lovely truth warriors out on the internet. I'm currently being me too'd by my roommate, but she will get away with it because she's at the top of the diversity pyramid and she cannot be blamed for anything.
Negro nipples.
That's her, her defense in court. She says, what the charges against you, Miss Heaven, you've been making your roommate uncomfortable and Negro nipples. Case dismissed.
Negro nipples. Like, oh, you're fine.
We're gonna have fun tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
What's your favorite color what's your favorite color when you're having sex? My favorite color having sex is red.
Favorite color when you're having sex?
I think it's fluorescent beige.
It changes while you're having sex now?
Yes.
The favorite color fluctuates based on the sexual activities.
Mine's like red, pinkish, maybe sometimes green. His is fluorescent beige always.
Fluorescent beige. That's the color of Ferrari I would get if I could.
This one, Boar Snore.
How dare you? I would get a bright electric green
Ew!
Ferrari.
Like an ugly lizard?
I would just get the most annoying colors. What's up, Blossom?
Oh, like Powerpuff Girls? I like Buttercup.
How are we doing out there?
My bloated
I just
stomach.
got off stage, the fourth wall. Up there talking shit, baby. Doing the goddamn thing out here in Hollywood. Breaking through one argument at a time. Pretty stable here. You know, well, we're glad to hear you're stable. We are on the edge of chaos at every moment.
Every fucking moment.
And, that's what happens when you have to pay your Hollywood rent
It's so expensive.
with your meager jobs that you do around town.
I suck dick for money and I'm broke.
She sucks dick for breakfast at Denny's.
Just kidding and Dylan. Ew.
Ew!
Ew! Come on down. The price is not right.
Grand slam and a dick suck. You know, that's it's a good way to start your day.
You're beautiful too, person. Thank you.
The podcast is titled Singularity of Stupid because, a lot of people think there's a singularity of robots and artificial intelligence and, oh my God, the internet and the robots are going to take over our lives. Social media is taking over. What up, Elliot Brown? But the real singularity is of stupid people. They are multiplying and they want your tax money for their government program.
Did you get that one?
Yes, what's up, Elliot Brown? I just logged on to Instagram and I saw that Owen Benjamin had his PayPal blocked. That is super fucked up, ladies and gentlemen, because they cut, the super chats out for him.
Oh, why?
Because they don't like him exposing the cultural Marxist agenda.
That's rude.
But he does kind of bring some attention on himself for continuously blaming the Jews for it. Now the Jews, they do represent, disproportionate positions in, the thrones of power there in the entertainment industry and in media and in banking. But they have the IQ to get it done. They have the horsepower, all right, to get up to the top, and they also have that fierce in-group preference. I think, white people could learn a lot from the Jews in terms of, breeding with the smartest men in the community instead of the ones, who can bench press the most and have the most tattoos. And also, supporting their own. White people don't support their own because white people are a weird group concept in themselves. Like I'm German and Dutch. So the next motherfucker is Italian. The next motherfucker is British. And it's like, yeah, can't give much of a fuck because we're all so different. It's like, what does white mean? But yeah, that is super fucked that Owen had his PayPal blocked.
Have y'all ever accidentally walked around and farted accidentally multiple times?
All the people on Outrage TV that have control over their sphincter, okay? They know how to hold it in. All right, we have discipline here at Outrage TV.
I do too, and my butt holds up. Oh no.
We're in the middle of an intellectual discussion here.
Sorry, I was walking, I farted, and I didn't mean to, and I was curious. Sorry, guys. I had unsolicited farts.
We're all glad you're claiming it, and so I don't have to blame you for it.
Do you guys know I look like a cupcake right now? I'm bloated as shit, so I'm on period, but I'm bloated.
What up, Donkey Kong? I'm here with the chocolate cupcake here. She's dressed, very fancy in her lacy outfit, and she's cupcaking, to the max.
Did you say I'm cupcaking? What the fuck?
Cupcaking to the max. Full throttle cupcaking.
Yes, he is gay, ladies. I'm sorry.
I am the comedian of the group. Kevin has been on stage once. She had a pretty good set. Ellie Brown says, never trust a fart. Well,
No, really, they slip out real quick. You be walking there. I one time happened. I look so cute. And I was walking by this really cute guy, and I farted, and he looked around, and I just kept walking, so I was like...
But back on the topic of Owen Benjamin, it sucks because Owen had found a route there to get around having to do this bullshit advertising. I don't monetize my videos either because I don't want you guys to have to click through bullshit ads you don't want to see. And you'll never hear me stop in the middle of saying something to you guys and be like, and by the way, you got to check out our sponsor. Try this underwear. It's super comfortable. I just don't wear any other underwear. Me undies is just amazing. And then I put underwear on my head and be like, promo code communism.
Ew.
Promo code AOC. Promo code
Just so
sellout.
you know, I will definitely monetize my websites because
Promo code sellout. So I don't like doing that type of shit. That's why, a manager told me to go out for commercials out here at Central Casting. And it's just not me, man. I don't want to be the fucking Doritos guy. You can keep that money. I'm not going to, dude, super.
But he'd be so good at it. He'd be like, my dick is wetter than yours. I was surfing.
I want to make money, for my talents, and that's it. I hone my craft.
And his penis.
And I get in there. What's up, AJ?
I'm going to go to sleep now. Bye.
Bye,
I'm sleepy.
I'm not trying to be the Doritos guy. No, thank you. So that's why I don't have advertisements on this video. And Owen had found that route of just super chats and PayPals, and now they're trying to cut those legs out from under him, and it's super fucked up. That's why we gotta come out here and say the truth, how we feel it, with no chaser. All right, because somebody has to go out here and flex our First Amendment muscles, ladies and gentlemen, or else they're gonna get, soft and Play-Doh-like, and then the muzzies are gonna be able to come in and start that caliphate, while the, beanbag chair, Cheeto finger, Xbox dicks can't defend Western civilization, and they let it fall. Right? It's like when the barbarians came into the Roman Empire and they had already devalued their currency to such a degree that everyone was all slovenly and lazy and not working and just living off of the, the grapes of the day, and they let themselves get conquered.
Grapes are good for you. you guys.
AJ just had French fries, turkey sausage, toast, hash browns, and eggs, and he's still hungry.
Oh my god, you sound amazing.
Oh, he's putting it down out there.
You
That's
sound hot as fuck.
man, that's a lot of carbs too. You living on that carbohydrate high.
Right? Like, how big is your dick?
Evan wants to know how long your dick is. You don't know how. You don't have to share if you don't like.
And the thickness counts.
Oh Lord, Elliot Brown, thank you once again. Any new thoughts on the Notre Dame thing? I listened to the Stephen Molyneux video, and it is super suspicious that the fire was started after the workday ended at the Notre Dame cathedral there. And so it does seem like if it was arson, that's how it would be done. It would be done, after all the people who would have witnessed it are going home for the day, and then you throw your cigarette on some, piles of kindling there, and get the arson party started. So.
Did you say arson party? What the fuck?
Some people are crazy. They like to throw arson parties, all right, and destroy pinnacles of Western civilization like Notre Dame, and it's very troubling. All right. I have no evidence, but it may have been a bearded man in a turban.
Hey, rude! Don't blame on Aladdin.
Aladdin is innocent. Damn it.
He's not even wearing a shirt the whole movie. What happened? What happened? No shirt. What happened? You cold? You're not supposed to wear your shirt.
But it is emblematic of, if it was arson, it is emblematic of, the hatred toward Christianity that's just unfounded. Like, there's some aspects to it where it's like, yeah, you make fun of the metaphysics, and like Noah's Ark is kind of ridiculous, and, Jesus coming back to life is kind of ridiculous, and, the arguments for God existing at all, they don't quite make logical sense, but people have faith, and so it's like, just let them have their faith as long as they're not imposing it on you. But it's this big leftist agenda to get Christianity out of their way, because Christians generally support small government, and, they're wary of tyranny, and they want their personal freedom. They want to have their guns. They want to have their First Amendment and their Second Amendment, and they want their Fourth Amendment. They don't necessarily want to be spied on by the NSA at all times, at all hours of the day,
Well,
because they have a higher moral standard there, and the leftists, they see that as fascism. Anybody that has their own moral code that's not towing the social justice line, and any white person who doesn't immediately hate themselves based on their skin color, any dude that doesn't immediately hate themselves and turn into Kevin James from sitcom, and it's like, I can't do anything right, and so that's why Christianity is the enemy of the left, is because they reveal the ineptitude of leftist ethics, and they revealed the blatant government worship that these people have. They replaced God with the state, and they don't have any standards in their own life, and so they're all whacked out and fucking just looking for power seeking and materialism and drugs and sex and all this shit, trying to fill a void that's never going to get filled because they don't have a moral mission in their life other than calling white people racist. That's my big moral mission. Well, it turns out white people are pretty self-effacing, and they'll just get real defensive and be like, "No, how can I prove I'm not racist?" They're not going to get out in the street and riot. They're not going to stab anybody. White people are just like, "Oh, don't falsely accuse me of things. I have black friends." No, please, no. Don't destroy my career. I'm not racist. I'll go on The View and apologize. It doesn't take a lot of balls to, to have that as your moral mission, to demonize white people. Oh boy, the repercussions that could come. If white people have so much privilege, why are they the only ones you can openly demonize in public and get no backdraft from it? It's just like promoted right to the top of Twitter. Fuck white people, am I right? Hashtag fuck whitey. And it's like 3,000 retweets, and you're like, all right, what is your major deal here, sir? Are you trying to demonize the majority tax-paying population so that you can justify stealing their money to finance your inefficient government programs? Is that what's going on here? That's the pushback you'll get from white people. It's economic arguments, But if you make fun of the Muzzies, all of a sudden, they're trying to set your cathedral on fire. And it's like, hey guys, what's the deal? Oh, thank you again, Elliot Brown. Change your name to the to the $2 question guy. I'm like a jukebox, baby. You just hop me up with them $2 questions, and baby, I'll set sail. All right, I'll get that motor running. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. We putting together arguments, crusading on the leftists. Oh, and whatever comes our way, we're gonna dismantle their bullshit arguments. We're looking for adventure. We talking shit to leftists. We don't want no communism. And the Nazis, they weren't right wing. They were the National Socialist Party.
So crazy.
There you go, Ellie Brown. There you go. The Democrats are the party of the KKK, everybody. It's a hard truth. We just have to accept it, Some canned heat. Going up the country. I don't even know any of the other lyrics. I didn't know those 3 lyrics. Going up the country. We're gonna take we're gonna take some communists down. Going up the country to where the communists don't go. We're gonna make our own butter. Start an economy of our own. Oh, what up, Anonymous Anarchy? Oh shit. On the road again. Here I am. Shaming the communists again. Here I am. Not watching the porn. Get that porn away. Get it away from me. We're on the road again. We're not touching ourselves. All right, we got squats to do. We got arguments to make. We're on the road again. Cruising into prosperity. Joe says, is this an anti-porn channel? Well, I am a long-term veteran of the porn. I do have the slight curve in my dick to prove it. It perfectly contours with my right hand, and that's first 48. That's case closed. That's evidence. But I have come to a realization, that everybody makes fun of cuckold porn, right? They make fun of, there's the big stud porn guy, and then there's the super hot porn chick, and then there's the loser over in the corner crying and beating off, and everybody makes fun of that guy. But then I'm like, well, what does that make me if I'm sitting here watching it on a laptop? At least that guy's in the room where the fucking is happening. All right? There's a pussy aroma in the atmosphere. So I refuse to cuck myself. That's, and it's a discipline exercise because porn is just it's just unlimited HD porn in your pocket. And it's like so easy just to turn it on and get, watch something that you wish you could do. And I don't think it's good for your brain. So it's a good discipline exercise to be like, not for me. Have I played GTA? I used to play the shit out of GTA. I'm gonna get to. There was a super chat up here. AJ gave me $2. Thank you, sir. Did I see the weatherman who was fired for mispronouncing MLK Jr.? No, I didn't. I didn't see that. How offensive. It's funny, they rigorously defend MLK, but simultaneously they will judge white people for their skin color despite the content of their character. You know, the diversity officers of the land, you know, they'll look around the office and be like, there's too many goddamn white people around here. That's the problem. We've got too many white thoughts floating around this office. We need some multicultural thoughts in here. You know, meanwhile, MLK was like, don't judge by the skin color, judge by content of character. And it's like, what happened to that? When it comes to demonizing whitey, there's no limits to the boundaries they will push, ladies and gentlemen. All right, because they recognize that white people don't have in-group preference like the Jews or the Mussies, and so, you know, we're an easy target for the people who aren't woke. Outrage TV, we're not that easy of a target, all right? We make the communists shake in their boots, all right? Because we got arguments for days. We're loaded up. I'm like, you know, I'm like the Rambo of arguments. I got a full fucking clip, dude. Come at me. I'm on the turret gun, dude. Taxation is theft. The Nazis weren't right wing. I'm way more liberal than you, actually, because you think, you know, big government is the way to solve problems, and I think freedom is. Come at me, baby. We all fired up on the Dragon Energy, dude. It's Rambo time, you know? We're flexing like Stallone, baby. We getting Stallone on that ass, dude. You could tie me up and torture me and talk about slavery and, you know, the Native American genocide. And I was like, that's not me, baby. That's not me. Oh. So, you know, it's only a matter of time, all right? Van Damme is better. What up, G Prime? Van Damme was slightly before my time. It was like early 90s, late 80s, right? I was born in 90. So it was more Schwarzenegger and Stallone for me. Damn, AJ's getting on that bacon, son. That's super anti-Semitic of you to want to eat bacon. How dare you? Actually, I mean, don't you have dual loyalty with Israel? Don't you want to support Israel? Israel doesn't support you eating bacon, all right? So, are you anti-Semitic or not? You know, you got to make your choice, okay? We know you don't have in-group preference, all right? So you're going to, you know, bow before my in-group preference here. Because of my small hat. Oh yeah, the Muslims don't eat the pork either, you know. That's you know, that's American white people's version of porn, is what they do to pork in barbecue. And we tempt the Jews and the Arabs with, you know, our barbecue porn all the time. All right, and it's very tempting, you know, to try to eat that hot link or them pork ribs, dude, or that bacon, you know. And they resist it. I think we can resist the porn, all right? We can resist the fiat currency, you know. We can point out the Federal Reserve, all right? We can point out the fractional reserve. Dude, that's hilarious, Elliot Brown. Thank you again. I have watched Last Action Hero. That was actually the last movie I watched. That's crazy you bring that up. Dude, early 90s Arnold was so fucking yoked. He was just, you know, just primetime action star Arnold. And, you know, you got the Shane Black dialogue in there. It did get a little goofy with the cartoon cat with Danny DeVito's voice, but you know, I love the premise that the kid gets the magic ticket and gets sucked into the movie. That's like such a money premise. And then, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the action star, Jack Slater, meeting actual Arnold Schwarzenegger in real life. He's like, these body doubles, they're getting really good. And it's like, that was a hilarious movie. I really fucking dug it. Thoughts on Bob Lazar? I heard Rogan talking about him the other day. He supposedly worked at Area 51 and saw some secret flying saucer technology. I don't know, dude. The closest habitable planet is about 36 trillion miles away. So it's unlikely to me that we've been contacted by aliens and that the government is just keeping it under wraps and like, I don't know. It's way more likely to me that Bob Lazar is like jaded because he got fired and, is a little bit crazy and wants attention and he's willing to make shit up to get attention and make a documentary. That's a little more likely to me than aliens traveling 36 trillion miles to come here and fuck with us on the secret tip. I'll check it out because I like conspiracy theory shit because, our entire reality is made up of conspiracies. People in power working together to fuck you over. Like Bernie Sanders put out this tweet today about all these corporations and he's like, all these big companies. And he's like, oh, what do all these companies have in common? They pay no tax. And it's like, yeah, Bernie, how do they make that happen? How do they pay no tax? They lobby politicians. And politicians cut deals with them because the corporations help finance their campaigns. It's a big incestuous relationship. How about we cut out the politicians from the deal? Have a little separation between state and economics there. And then we wouldn't have the constant revolving door. We wouldn't have the, companies lobbying for beneficial regulations and lobbying to pay no tax. And how about we just, instead of raising taxes on the companies and giving more money to the government, how about we lower everybody's taxes and have everybody pay no tax? How about we equal the playing field that way? Everybody no tax. There we go. Just close up shop and get the fuck out of the way, Bernie. That's what you can do to help the economy, all right? You can help the poor people by, getting the welfare system out of their way and giving them some economic opportunity to get into the workforce. And not having a minimum wage where companies are pressured to pay you a certain amount no matter what the value you contribute to their workspace. So then all they end up doing is lowering their workforce and raising their prices. It doesn't give people more jobs in the end. It doesn't help the job seeker, the employee. Taxes pay for our roads. Well, we could just cut the politicians out of the equation and pay directly for the roads. Pay for them like Netflix. I bet they'd be a lot more efficient. All right, because the government, you say you pay them for the roads, and then all of a sudden you're paying for the military-industrial complex to go over and make 1 million dead bodies in the Middle East based on weapons of mass destruction. And no politicians are out there with a jackhammer and a hard hat working on the roads. That's the construction company who could very well be paid for straight by the consumer. I'm just trying to take the rape out of the equation. Because government is coercive, it's involuntary. It's rape compared to capitalism, which is lovemaking. All right, it's all voluntary. Okay, we're making deals, we're negotiating, we're getting shit done. Trying to make it mutually beneficial. The government doesn't give a fuck about mutually beneficial. They just, give you your government slop on your plate that you paid for, that they forcibly removed from your wallet. And you just gotta plaster on a smile and like it. Yeah, Joe, state rights. I think that is the intermediary situation we need to have. Just making the federal government smaller is the first step. But it's got to be a long transition. Obviously, it would be chaos in the streets if we just got rid of the government overnight, which would never happen. It's a fake hypothetical, but still, in theory, yeah, there would have to be a long transition, and going back more towards state rights would be, super logical. Thank you very much again, Elliot Brown. How do I make my millions? By coming online and talking shit to you people and being honest and bearing my soul on the podcast and on stage. What up, Cactus Jack? You know, giving them that raw authenticity, because that's what people are craving. They're craving, you know, the realness now, because there's so much fake bullshit being pumped out by the leftist media complex. You know, that's why Trump got elected. One of the big reasons is because he's shooting from the hip and he's not, you know, intentionally trying to deceive you. He's being authentic, and he's going up there and just fucking winging it and riffing like a roast comic, and you know, going up there and talking that shit. No, I'm talking about theoretically how I make my millions, AJ. Right now, I'm not, you know, I'm barely making enough to pay my card note. It's you know, it's a rocky road out here, but we're trying to make it happen. You know, I grew up lower middle class. I was born into a trailer park in Oklahoma. All right, so we started at the bottom. Now we here, but now we really not here yet. But we coming, baby. Choo choo. Steam is coming out of the train. I should pull some stunts like Mark Dice. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, that coast to coast AM. What are we talking about? We're talking about how white people don't have in-group preference, you know, and the Jews do and the Muzzies do, and you know, we're talking about the cultural Marxists targeting the white people, making them feel guilty through propaganda, and then extracting their tax dollars as a result. I love me some Dice Clay, dude. Oh, big fat fucking ace. Hickory dickory dock. We took the communists down to the dock. Figured out if they learned how to swim. He didn't know if it was a her or a him. Oh! Thank you again, Elliot Brown. Do they smoke marijuana in Muskogee? You goddamn motherfucking right, okay? I'm from a little town called Ponca City, Oklahoma, but it was about an hour drive away from Muskogee. And, you know, I played high school basketball, and we knew deep down in our hearts, no matter how hard we worked, it wasn't going to matter when we went and played, you know, them urban fellas in Muskogee, all right? They were dunking in 6th grade. We were like, all right, fellas, what the fuck? You know, we showed up and, you know, we'd been listening to our coach, you know. We were pumped up, you know. We showed up and the other team didn't even have a coach. They were just shooting dice and fucking rolling blunts on the sideline. You know, they still fucking blew us out. How many students in my school? Graduating class of about 350. That would be funny. That's something we've thought about doing, street interviews with liberals in Hollywood and making them look retarded. We do have a little microphone. We're gonna have to figure out how to get it hooked up to a camera and hit the streets, because I do think that would be pretty hilarious. There's a lot of people with a touch of the downs out here in lefty heaven, out on the Hollywood Walk of Fame here, just straggling around. And I know how to edit shit, Joe. It's just a little bit time consuming. I wish I did, have somebody designated for it, but it's not that hard to do. But yeah, just going up and asking people what they think about Donald Trump and just asking rational questions. He's such a liar. Oh, what has he lied about? It's crowd size. How'd you feel when Obama, said he was going to not prosecute whistleblowers, and then he went after Edward Snowden when he revealed, that the NSA was watching all of us constantly and lying about it? Crowd size? How'd you feel about the people who wrote the Russian dossier that Donald Trump likes to get pissed on by Russian hookers? That's not real? I thought that was real. And now's the time in the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, where Nick Jordan, the federal outrage chancellor, is going to go take a federal outrage urination excursion in the other room. I'm going to leave the door open like the savage that I am. All right, they call me the consensual Genghis Khan. All right, Genghis Khan was a little heavy on the rape. We're doing it voluntarily. All right, we're conquering. All right, and we're taking, pisses on the live stream. Please rate me out of 10. And I will be back. I will read comments. I will crack another beer. Oh, so disrespectful, ladies and gentlemen. I dare say the most disrespectful podcast on the planet. Oh, the Tampa Bay Lightning are a joke. I don't follow hockey that much, but yeah, they're getting beat by some lower seeded team. 1.69 out of 10. Oh, Lord. What's up, Dead-O? Trump tells the truth so much leftists can't believe it. Yeah. He's all they talk about. That's their entire platform. Everybody who's running on the left is like, what's your number one policy? We hate Trump. It's like, and we want to give people a bunch of free shit. And white people should hate themselves. Literally the running headline, I've seen it on CNN, I've seen it on all these news networks lately. I've just been walking in, picking up, deliveries, and I see the TV, and it says slavery reparations. That's what they've been talking about in the mainstream media with straight faces. Should we have a program where Whitey gets fleeced for slavery reparations? Dude. Like, at least cloak it in some kind of bullshit socialism and income inequality, and like, at least have some sophistry bullshit wrapped around your open racism. But it's like, yeah, white people in 2019 need to pay up for slavery. Dude, so insane. But that's the core of their ideology. They think there's this like historical score to settle. And it's like, are we just going to ignore the fact that white Western European Christians ended slavery and participated in it the least out of any culture? At the height of slavery, 4% of Americans owned slaves. Most of those were Democrats. And it wouldn't have been possible. The Atlantic slave trade wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for blacks in Africa enslaving other blacks, because white people weren't gonna, come on land and then trench into the middle of Africa and go round up black people. Like, white people didn't invent slavery. All right, they were actually enslaved by the Muslims in like the 1200s. Every culture has practiced some form of slavery, but white people only and forever get blamed for it because we are the most self-reflective and guilty about it. And what's the price you pay for having some empathy and feeling bad about something? Well, they push it even further. We're going to dig into that wallet, Whitey. Pay up. It's like so absurd that they're having a national discussion about this horse shit on a fucking, on TV. Like, oh my God. I mean, the whole thing with, white privilege is like, yeah, at a certain point in American history, white people had privilege. They had legitimately more opportunities than, other classes of people. But that has eroded down to virtually nothing. Like now, the opportunity that white people have that everybody else doesn't have is the opportunity to get called racist for any little possible transgression you make. By exercising your First Amendment rights there. And, you get the opportunity of getting fired from your job for saying, there's some criminality in the black community. It's like, oh, no! Like, that's white people's version of the word nigger. It's to call a white person racist. Everybody says, oh, there's nothing you can say that, that racially offends white people. Call them privileged. Call them racist. That's almost as dehumanizing as the word nigger, is to call somebody a racist. Oh, you're just a knuckle-dragging racist. You just hate other people. Not buying it. I judge people by the content of the character, not the color of the skin, unlike the leftists who think that skin color determines your character. That's the logical continuum of the diversity agenda is, oh, we need some more black thoughts in here. We need some more Hispanic thoughts in here. It's too many white thoughts. You all think the same. Skin color doesn't determine what's in your fucking brain, you racist. That's what actual racists think. It's like, I'm getting a couple glitches on my YouTube. Let me close other apps real quick. I'll be right back. All right, we good? I just didn't want the YouTube app crash. That's happened a couple times. What up, Thomas Jefferson? It says race is not a skin color. Yeah, I think it's more about culture. It's more about behavior. Because white is like, we were talking about this earlier. White is the most, fractured, like, racial group you could ever come up with. It's like, I'm German and Dutch. The next motherfucker is Italian. The next motherfucker is British. It's like, what's the common culture there? I mean, it used to be Christianity, but that's kind of, gone up in flames. Unfortunately, like the spires of Notre Dame. There's rising atheism, rising nihilism. You know, I am an atheist, but I'm a moral atheist. I like to think of myself. Yeah, too soon. I knew it as soon as I said it. God damn it. Supposedly, you know, it's very rebuildable, the damage that happened. So they shall rebuild it. Yeah, we were talking about that Cactus Jack, PayPal disbando, and Benjamin. It's super fucked up. I don't know if they just suspended him or if they literally banned it. But man, he's out there. He's the canary in the coal mine, dude. He's out there speaking truth. He's got a big old audience. And, you know, they didn't like that. But censorship never works, all right? If you tell people they can't listen to Owen Benjamin, his audience is only going to grow no matter where he goes to stream. Because if people listen to you enough and they get that you're a well-intentioned individual and you're just making jokes and you're making arguments, and then they censor you, it's like then everything you say gets underscored. It's like, oh, this is the forbidden shit. This is what they don't want you to hear. That's why, you know, for over a year, I've had a bumper sticker on the back of my car in Hollywood that says Infowars.com, forbidden information. And I had that on there like a year before they actually got banned off of Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And it's just like, it's got to make some people who don't instantly hate it think like, oh, they were banned. I guess they're hateful, but you know, it's okay to hate white people. It's okay to hate, you know, libertarians with big audiences who helped Trump get elected. It's okay to hate Donald Trump all day long, all right, because he's successful and he's white and he crushes puss. And there's nothing that pisses off the leftists more. Because it's all this like supposed rooting for the underdog ideology. And it's like you can only push the victim narrative so much when it's like Jussie Smollett openly fakes a hate crime, blames it on white people, goes on TV and cries, oh, they tried to lynch me, these Trump supporters. And it comes out as totally fake, and he just puts on his aviator sunglasses and fucking struts back on the set at Empire. It's like, where's the systemic oppression that Jussie Smollett was facing? We're looking for the systemic oppression, and it seems to have left the radar space. Where did it go? Jussie was willing to testify against two people they brought in before he knew that it was actually the Nigerian bodybuilding brothers that they had caught. He thought they caught two random white dudes, and he's like, yeah, I'll testify against them. He was just getting ready to falsify his horseshit story and keep it going in order, and you know, be totally fine putting two random white dudes in jail for it and having their lives ruined and their reputation smeared. That motherfucker should have went to jail for that shit. And it's like, just off scot-free. Michael Obama, she called in a favor because Jussie, you know, Jussie knew how to handle that Michael Obama cock. He knew what to do with it. All right? He's a butt pumper supreme. Butt pumper propaganda supreme. And it's like the concept of white privilege in 2019 is so absurd. And I see like, you know, white dudes standing up on stage like apologizing because they'll have a joke about white privilege or something, and then like it won't go over that well because it's not that written or something, not that well written, and then they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean it's all gone. I mean, there's still a bunch of white privilege. I mean, it just went down a little bit. And it's like they got dark circles under their eyes and their hair's all fucked up and they're just like, yeah, I'm still privileged. I mean, I get everything I want. And it's like, dude, you look like you're miserable. Can't you just admit you're miserable? Like, Thomas Jefferson said, I've decided to just be a Nazi. I love that as a quote from Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, they're trying to be an ally. I'm an ally. What they don't realize is that nobody fundamentally respects that, especially black males. Black males hate it when you go up there and say you hate yourself because of your race and they apologize for white people and try to make the black people feel okay about it and we're here to help, and it's that condescending bigotry of low expectations. Like, just leave the black people alone. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out. Get the welfare state incentives. Get them off the Democratic plantation. Get the leftists out of their fucking brain and they'll be fine. But, fundamentally, black males get it on average, I've found. And there's some of my best friends out here in Hollywood I've met doing comedy are black dudes, because they get that thing of like not being able to trust somebody who hates themselves, because like you never know what they're capable of. Like they're just like in this nihilistic, weird, like space where they don't even have any self-respect, and so they don't respect other people, and so they're like devaluing humanity as a whole, and they're environmentalists and oh my god, humans are a virus. And it's like, we get it, dude. You're not getting laid as much as you could. You're not eating right. You're smoking cigarettes. You're not working out. Your life is pretty miserable because you're making a lot of terrible choices to make it that way. Nobody else is forcing this upon you. You've just accepted the leftist propaganda, whole hog. You've bent over and grabbed your ankles, all right, for the cultural Marxists there. And you're willing to concede Western civilization as long as it gets you some social brownie points. And that's just, there's nothing more pathetic than that. And, a lot of black males can see right through that shit. Thomas Jeff worked out today. You can get in some of that leg work, baby. I was talking about Stallone earlier. I got the full clip of arguments, dude. I'm behind the turret. Taxation is theft, baby. I'm the true liberal in this motherfucker. I want freedom. All right? I don't want Bernie Sanders and AOC making my money decisions for me. Oh, what's good, Burgess? I get into some stretching sometimes, Stretch it out. I wish I had access to a sauna. I like that sauna, and I like that fucking cold pool getting in there after workout. You know what I'm saying? Joe says, don't compare rich people to poor people. What are you talking about? Thomas Jefferson says, so we're all one race, kind of. No, we have different genetic makeups because we evolved in different areas of the planet. That's why white people have white skin, is because we evolved in areas of the planet that got very little sunlight. And so we have to have this skin to be able to absorb some goddamn vitamin D and take it in quickly. But black people have that dark skin because they evolved in Africa, and there was constant sunlight all the fucking time. And then white people have long-term planning skills on average, because we had to be able to farm and plan for the winter so we didn't starve. But there's no winter in Africa. There's just food all around you constantly. You just have to have the athleticism to get it, all right? You got to be able to climb that tree. You got to be able to hunt that animal down and kill it. Oh yeah, Thomas Jefferson. I can't verify all of the facts of the evolutionary theory, but I value the scientific method over religious faith. Cactus Jack got them 17-inch arms, dude. You know where you're headed. Dude, you need to get them fucking 22s, dude. So you can be like a real American, Get them 22s, man. He's hulking out, baby. Somebody's getting leg dropped. Yeah, dude. Ow! That's that survival of the fittest right there, dude. You know, survival of the biggest arms. We're trying to get the shoulders bigger here on the Outrage cast. I'm trying to, shoulder the load for Western civilization. You know, I could shave the beard and keep the stash. I could rock it, super authoritarian. Yeah, dude, them lateral raises, I get on them. And the shrugs too. My thing is eating enough because I got that, I got that lean man metabolism. I got to put down, mountainous amounts of calories to get any gains around here. After my workouts, I put down whole Little Caesar's pizza, in honor of the Roman Empire. All right. And then I take down a pint of ice cream because I don't want to get rid of the cows. I like their flatulence. All right. I like their dairy. All right. It stimulates my IGF-1. It gets that testosterone popping. All right. I'm trying to be that, that Brahma bull. All right. That Brahma bull that fucking protects Western civilization. Oh, dude, you got to get the ice cream and pour that shit in the blender with some protein powder after a workout. Oh, shit. You getting swole as a motherfucker. Cactus Jack knows what's up. Yeah, dude. Sugar is perfectly fine after a workout. That'll refill the glycogen stores that have been depleted. That's, one of my main motivations for working out. Those are my high carb days. I do low carb, high fat on my rest days. And then whenever I feel like eating an entire pizza and, and digging on some ice cream, I go to the gym on an empty stomach. I hit up that caffeine and a little bit of creatine. I get in there and, I scare all the women and the communists with my, weight slamming and my screaming and my dragon energy. And then I put down about 4,000 calories after that. All right. Cause that's that warrior lifestyle, dude. Vegetarian is better. Hitler was a vegetarian. Did you just admit you're a Nazi, Natai? Hitler was he called himself a socialist. He was a vegetarian failed artist who couldn't get laid. That's how the Holocaust happened, is Hitler was trying to bang Jewish girls and they were too high IQ for him to get in that pussy. All right? They were like, Hitler, you're not even selling any of your paintings. Why are you eating a tofu salad? You have no energy. You're always mad. And he's like, Nine! You all die! Stop the money changing! The banking! You just don't make enough money, Hitler. That's why you're mad. You just... He ate eggs. I love him. Did he put his diet in Mein Kampf? I haven't investigated Hitler's diet. I just heard he was a vegetarian. And it made sense with his soy boy ideology of resentful beta rage. Instead of out-arguing the Jews, instead of out-competing them in the marketplace, he just decided to march them into them camps there. Trying to get that DK Metcalf body. Oh, dude. That guy is ridiculously swole. As soon as I get a little bit of money, I'm going to invest in some light anabolics like Anavar I've looked into. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage to the liver. It's an oral, light little steroid there. And, you take some Silymarin, some milk thistle along with it, ease the liver. and get your pump on, baby. And then I'll have some shoulders for the podcast. I'll be able to shoulder the load for Western civilization. All right. And I'm going to get a thick neck. All right. I don't know jujitsu, but I want a neck thick enough that you can't choke it out. I want that thick neck living, baby. I want that Scott Steiner neck, dude. Big Papa Pump. Oh, gotta stop drinking for that. Yeah, there is a little bit of the the estrogen chemicals in the beer, I've heard. But you got to make sacrifices in life. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a comic, so I'm not trying to tan my body up and get in these weirdo competitions. $20,000 Jews were lost in the Holocaust. Let's not forget. Don't forget. But we must forget the Arab slave trade where white people were enslaved. We must forget that. Put it out of your memory. White people invented slavery. All right? It's part of the Common Core that we're teaching in the public school. White people invented slavery. You must feel bad, and you need to pay up the reparations, according to CNN. All right, CNN, when they're not giving debate questions to Hillary, when they're not telling you to not read the WikiLeaks, when they're not telling you that there's Russian collusion going on with no evidence, when they're not telling you that the president likes to get pissed on by Russian hookers, all right, they're telling you that you need to give some money back to the blacks for slavery. If I learn jujitsu, I will be invited to Rogan's isolation tank. Yeah, dude. That's the ultimate Hollywood gatekeeper right there. You got to be invited into the isolation tank with old Rogan. Oh, the old sodomy enthusiast. You're right. You got to drop some mushrooms and some DMT and come into Joe Rogan and have the Joe Rogan experience. All right, in the isolation tank. Dude. You'll never call out the Jews again after that. Oh. We'll correct him. They're like the butler in The Shining. We will correct him, sir. We banished him to Rogan's isolation tank. He's going to learn the ways of sodomy. Oh. Yeah, dude. Rogan's in that Jewish bubble wrap. All right? He doesn't want to piss off his agents and managers by calling out what's actually happening. I'm going to have Jew managers and agents too, but, I'm going to call out their sneakiness right to their face. All right? If they don't like it, that's too bad. All right? That's too bad if you don't like it, dude. You already know what the fuck it is. Not scared of you short little Jews. You're heavily circumcised. All right? I'm circumcised too, but they left just enough to defend Western civilization. All right? And to get with these, big booty black women out here in Hollywood. Rogan's behind me. Ah! It's Joe Biden. Dude, I would want to be methed up if I was going to war too. Best exercises for abs, AJ. Don't even worry about your abs. Just do squats. All right. I got a set of abs, and I haven't done ab workouts in a long fucking time. You don't need to do ab workouts. Just do shit that engages your core. As long as you're doing chin-ups and dips and full body exercises and squats, like, you'll work your core. Abs are mostly about diet. You got abs already. It's just about getting rid of the layer of fat on top. Yeah, to strengthen your core, but it's like you can get those stabilizer muscles by doing military press and shit like that. I just do squats and military press, and that shreds my abdominal up. If you want big ridiculous abs, do your core strength, I guess. What up, Aaron Friedman? Yeah, I focus on the lower back. The squats hit that lower back good, dude. That you got to strengthen that back, because back injuries are the worst fucking things ever. I had my first back injury the other day. It was actually right after I was done with a podcast. I was a little bit dehydrated, and I had to cough right when I was ending the podcast. And so I ended the podcast, and I was getting up off the stool, getting ready to cough. And your back muscles tighten up when you cough. I was like, oh, as I got up off the stool, and my lower back muscle went, brrr, and I was just like, no, fuck. I was out of commission, dude, for a good couple of days. I just had to lay around all the next day and eat protein bars, trying to rebuild that fucking muscle back there. It was ridiculous. You gotta keep that back strong, baby. Burgess focus on fighting. What do you do? Boxing? I would like to do a little bit of jiu-jitsu and a little bit of Muay Thai if I could afford the classes. I want to be able to throw them leg kicks and them elbows, dude. Go. Right now, I can afford a gym membership, so I'm just trying to lift and deter any, conflicts before they start. You get big enough, people are like, all right, not with him. Maybe if I got a little cauliflower ear, my ears are so delicate and articulate, I've got the ears of a writer. They're very detailed, all right? I need some cauliflower in those motherfuckers to deter. We're all about the non-aggression principle here, but if anybody comes at you, that's that self-defense. Everybody thinks the non-aggression principle is pacifist. Libertarians have done the worst job of promoting that principle because it's one of the most powerful principles ever. If you accept the non-aggression principle, then you realize that taxation is theft, and that's the beginning of wisdom. You can realize all that you've been lied to in society about and all the propaganda that's been forced down your throat once you just accept the non-aggression principle. Ron Paul was pretty big in putting that idea out there when he ran in 2012. He just didn't have the dragon energy or the stones to really go up there and talk shit on the debate stage. All right, everybody. PayPal.me/Outrage TV is the preferred donation link. If you want to send me some shekels, I'm going to crack another beer here. PayPal.me/Outrage TV. Unlike, we put all our support out there to Owen Benjamin. You know, wish him all the luck in the world. Hope he gets his PayPal shit back. Hope he gets his super chats back. But for now, we're still online here. We're not avoiding any hard truths, and we don't plan on it in the future. All right, we're breaking down all the arguments. We're going off the top of the head. We got no notes. We got no teleprompter. And we're running on raw dragon energy, dude. We're putting that pedal to the metal on the hot rod. We're trying to get that American muscle. All right, we're trying to make our arms bigger. All right? We're trying to be that consensual Genghis Khan. Yeah, dude, Cactus Jack, I was talking about Kyle Korver on stage tonight. What up, Chungus? I was talking about Kyle Korver on stage tonight for sure, man. Yeah. Because it's like, first of all, the Players Tribune at the NBA, how about you just play hoop, you fucking retard? I don't want to hear your thoughts on societal and cultural issues and how bad you feel as a white person in the NBA and, oh, you're so guilty. It's like, if there is one sector of society where you should recognize you don't have some fucking privilege, it's the NBA. How many times do you got to get your fucking ankles broken, Kyle Korver? How many times you got to get swatted out of bounds? How many times you got to get posterized and dunked on and baptized to realize you don't have privilege in that arena? You got LeBron's balls covering up your eyes while you're getting dunked on, and you're like, it's a privilege, chosen one. What a fucking cuckold supreme. Kyle Korver desperately wants his teammates to bang his wife, you know, and everybody just gets real uncomfortable. They're like, Kyle, can you just... No, she needs a real man. Like, just give her some of that dick I saw in the locker room. I mean, I told her all about your dick and it's great. Like, she really wants it now. I know I look like a retarded Ashton Kutcher and this isn't punked, all right? I really want you to bang my wife. See, this is why we do the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. That's the new tag I'm going to use on stage. Jews want to brainwash us into thinking that's the norm. Yeah, they want you to, hate yourself based on, your immutable characteristics you had no say or choice in. You were born white and male, so time to pay up for reparations for slavery. But all it is easy target practice because white people don't have in-group preference. We don't support our own because we're so fractured. We have no uniform white culture. The white culture used to be Christianity. But now it's so fractured and so morally relativistic. I mean, nobody knows what the fuck to believe. So we're all just like, well, we just gotta bend over and grab our ankles so the minorities can have their, their opportunity. Yeah, dude. I try not to play into the race narratives because that's exactly what they want us to do. I go back and forth between, there's some truth that needs to be exposed on stage when I do my stand-up, when it comes to race. And then also, I don't exactly want to play into the back and forth because that's another part of the cultural Marxist agenda. They want to get white people back on their heels and defensive and always trying to defend themselves. And no, we're not that bad. And we created Western civilization and electricity and smartphones and the internet and irrigation and, plumbing. And we did all this shit for you. It's like 98% of the scientific advancements since the Industrial Revolution. It's all white people. We just want to make everybody rich. we want to have universal principles and morality. We want to help everybody out. And everybody's like, now we got you. We got you on the defensive. And they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And so it's hard to not talk about it on stage because it's so ridiculous when they're talking about reparations for slavery on CNN. But at the same time, you don't want to play into that back and forth of dividing people. You want to point out the common enemy that's fucking everybody over, which is the government. Which is hard to do because it's hard to talk about how taxation is theft to a bunch of comics who don't even pay into the tax system. They've never had to pay any taxes in their life. They just get refunds. The government is just a money machine to them. So they don't recognize, they can't do the abstract philosophical thing where we just examine an idea on its merits alone. It's like, no, how does it affect me personally? They're all in this narcissistic weird shit. It's like, I don't pay into the tax system, so why would I give a fuck? It's like, do you plan on making any money in your life? Well, 50% of it is going to go to, your ruler tyrants there in the government that are held to a different standard than you because, they put on suits and sit around in white buildings and pretend like they're important. And they have their thugs in uniforms come and collect your money. Normies won't listen to anything that isn't pleasing to their narrative. Yeah, it's a low IQ phenomenon to not be able to hold an opposing idea in your head. That's why you see all these protests at college, and all the mass triggering that's happening. People trying to shut down the First Amendment. It's because they're low IQ and they're easily propagandized. They're the same people you can easily hypnotize. The hypnotist comic can bring these fucking losers up on stage and just be like, oh, you're a banana with ADHD. And they're like, oh my God, I'm a banana. I can't focus on anything. And it's like, that's why this whole, everybody needs to go to college initiative is so retarded. It's like, college doesn't make you smarter. Smart people are supposed to go to college so that they can, get into the STEM fields and get their appropriate training in the field that benefits society. Not so, all these retards can go into gender studies and race studies and come out just hating straight white males and think that that's beneficial to society. Have them go and get indoctrinated by the lovely communist professor with his big, friendly beard as he makes excuses for the ideology that's killed 250 million people. He doesn't have a swastika, so, it's fine. Can you imagine a Nazi professor? There are no Nazi professors. There are plenty of communist professors. Communism killed way more people than Nazism. But it sounds nice and loving, all right, to the female-minded voters out there who don't understand economics. Race studies is called genetics. Oh my God, it's all culturally relative, okay? It's just environmental. There are no, racial differences between, there are no genetic differences between races. Meanwhile, white people are evil, all right? And there are no differences in genders when it comes to biology, but, transgender people are men that are born with female brains. Don't point out my hypocrisy, you bigot. School is to dumb you down, arrest your consciousness at an early stage, and deliver the doctrine of Lucifer. There you go, Thomas Jefferson. That's that Common Core. All right, and everybody talks about, oh, we need more funding for public schools, and it's like, no, unless the Common Core changes, the results aren't going to change. You're still going to be producing NPC drones that hate themselves. As long as you have this Common Core horseshit, where you teach that FDR was a great guy and Joseph McCarthy was a psycho, wingnut, paranoid, schizophrenic. Meanwhile, your professor is actually a communist, teaching you about how paranoid Joseph McCarthy was about a communist infiltration of the universities. What? You have to sit back like Hillary Clinton, getting triggered, having a seizure at how stupid it is. Yeah, that's why I don't see a lot of women hanging out with transgender people. Because it's fundamentally insulting to femininity to just say you can chop your cock off and be a woman. Like the current Miss Spain, she won the contest for Miss Spain, is a transgender woman. Formerly a dude, chopped his cock off, put on a bathing suit, and won Miss Spain. Now she's competing in Miss Universe. Oh, that's got to make the other actual female contestants feel good. Because men just can't let them have a beauty pageant, We got to insert our toxic masculinity in there and chop our cocks off and be like, you bitches ain't even seen pretty yet. I could look way prettier than you hoes. And the other women are going to be like, what does this bitch know about looking pretty? She don't even bleed every month. It's a good looking dude. It fooled me. She's Miss Spain. All right. But that's, and we got the trans women going into women's sports and competing with other women. And it's like, oh my God. It's so hilarious watching people try to defend this shit. Especially in like combat sports when there's a trans woman who just, chops her cock off and starts beating bitches up. Oh, dude. You never see it the other way around. I mean, that's the whole trans phenomenon. It's not this big gender revolution. It mostly is white dudes chopping off their cocks. It's really an epidemic of white dudes chopping off their cocks is what's happening. It's ma'am, right? But you rarely see it the other way around. You rarely see trans men trying to compete with men at man shit. The first time it happens will be the last. All right? If a trans man tries to try out for the NFL, today an inspiring story turned tragic in training camp when Mark, formerly Maggie, tried to catch a slant pass over the middle and got separated from her newly constructed surgical penis by the middle linebacker. It was a bloody scene at the 50-yard line. She set progressive rights back 10 years. What'd you say, Cactus Jack? No, your comments aren't getting through. The last comment I see from Cactus Jack, he says, why are none of my comments showing up? I see where you said, why doesn't the left get mad at black people for being transphobic? Well, because black people are the underdogs. They're perpetual victims, and they're the necessary class that they need to keep voting left. Otherwise, the left will cease to exist. If blacks wake up to the Democratic plantation and how they've been hoodwinked and fucked over, it's over for the left. They don't have a party. If we get the wall built and we wake the black people up, it's fucking over Freedom will win the day. Deado says, yeah, it's not like gay dudes women love to hang out with. Again, wacko land. I can't believe we let trannies compete in women's sports. Yeah, it's mental illness on the tranny side and the people that are promoting it side. We have some sympathy here at Outrage TV for, the mentally ill gay people out there who feel like they want to cut their genitals off. And we feel bad that it's societally promoted like it's progressive, because we're just encouraging people to go down the mental illness road that most of them end up regretting, and they become suicidal. And it's fun to make fun of at certain points, but fundamentally it's really sad. And it needs to be treated as something that's sad, not celebrated and like promoted like some cool, trendy thing. Like, that doesn't do them any favors. Alan James says, how come the whole Nazi thing has gotten so much bigger in recent times than when I was younger? Used to draw swastikas, wore a swastika, wasn't a big deal. Now media, police, and school would go crazy. It's because freedom-minded people are getting more reasonable. We've stepped out of the conventional halls of conservatism that include neocons and warmongers and like these fake conservatives like George W. Bush, HW to an extent as well. We've come out of those halls, and the new right, as it were, on the internet, which is largely libertarians and anarchists and just generally freedom-minded people, like the federal outrage chancellor himself here. That threatens the power structure, because we actually have cogent arguments to back up what we're saying. And we're not hateful. We're just breaking down the logic of the situation and pointing out why things are happening and the incentives at play. And so that's a direct threat to the power structure. People rationally, logically talking about freedom and doing it in a peaceful way. And so they need a way to brand you as a hateful person. And so they use that political spectrum of like, oh, if you get too far right wing, you're getting into becoming a Nazi territory. And it's so false, it's so propagandistic, it's such bullshit. Because the Nazis were not right wing. They were socialists. They were an authoritarian system, which has not a lot to do with libertarianism. The Nazis were not libertarians. They weren't into freedom. They weren't trying to create a libertarian utopia and then, whoops, concentration camps are bad. That wasn't what the Nazis were about. They were racial supremacists. They were big government authoritarian leftists. And they're just a hint off from communism. Communism is direct state ownership of the companies. Fascism is indirect state ownership of the companies, because they direct the companies how to act, and there's an incestuous relationship going on there. And so they have to demonize freedom-minded people as alt-right, or, in order to link them with Nazis. So the more freedom you want in society, the smaller the government you want, they're going to try to link you up with some hateful ideology in order to discredit your ideas and say, oh, you're a Nazi because you point out the criminality of the black community, or you point out, the immorality of Jews in the Federal Reserve, or oh, you point out, the problem at the border, and that illegal immigration unfettered into infinity probably isn't the best idea. Oh, you must be a Nazi. It's a propaganda tactic they use to link freedom-minded people with hateful authoritarians. Thomas Jefferson says NWO teaches you the Nazis are evil. Well, I don't necessarily believe in the NWO. This is the NWO I believe in, dude. We're out here in Hollywood. We're getting it in. You know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck it is, dude. I don't believe in that New World Order. It's just a bunch of, aimless Jews who don't really know what the fuck they're doing because they don't have any moral principles and they have a high IQ and they have a lot of in-group preference and they're just out to get theirs, dude. And white people need to take some notes. How about you stand up for yourself instead of complaining about the Jews all the time? Stand up for yourself and speak the truth and don't apologize for it. You hear me, Norm Macdonald? You goddamn legend. Stop going on the goddamn View and crying for making jokes. You fuck. But that's why we're in comedy out here, ladies and gentlemen. It's the last bastion of free speech. All right? You can get out there and you can talk your shit. And you don't have to apologize because if it's funny, it's funny. One more federal outrage piss, ladies and gentlemen. Be right back. PayPal.me/Outrage TV. Yes, sir, baby. We need to take some notes from the Jews. Quit complaining about them, damn it. Take a leadership role. Get out there, baby. You don't like you have to give real name in PayPal? Yeah, sometimes you got to relinquish that anonymity, for freedom. Feed the Jew. I think the Jews are well fed enough, Alan James. All right, we don't need to promote the feeding of the Jews. I've met Mr. Lee Syatt out here from the Church of What's Happening Now podcast, and let me tell you, he is well fed. All right. I love fucking Lee Syatt. He usually has a beard, but he has it shaved right now for some reason, and he looks like the spitting image of Alfred Hitchcock. I know Alfred Hitchcock is, the Twilight Zone, they're bringing it back. But I think he's going for that role, dude. Good evening. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. Ooh. We're going to do 2,000 milligrams of edibles tonight. Ooh. Yeah, I make Lee Syatt mad because I talk about on stage when I work out and I eat, entire pizzas and ice cream. And he's like, how do you do that? You're so skinny. How do you go up on stage and talk about eating ice cream? And it's like ridiculous. I'm like, Lee, you could do it too, man. Get in the gym, pump them weights. All right? You could be the world's strongest Jew. He's thick as a motherfucker, dude. That dude is dense. All right? He could be carrying them fucking Atlas stones in that world's strongest Jew competition, dude. I've had the pleasure of meeting Joey Diaz out here too. That was hilarious. And he goes occasionally. He'll show up at the comedy club I go to called the Fourth Wall in North Hollywood, and he's talked about it on his podcast before. He'll show up, and he actually previewed his 30-minute Netflix material from a stripper chick I know, actually. The world. Sorry, I'm getting a call right now. This stripper chick I know, she's interrupting my Jew rants. How dare she? Yeah, sorry, I got a call. But yeah, I met Joey Diaz out here, and you know, it was hilarious. You know, talking to him about living out of my car and just starting comedy, and he's a real ass motherfucker. You know. Apparently he's up at the Comedy Store just unleashing that dragon, getting super politically incorrect on stage again. And it's good to see, dude. He's a real ass motherfucker. Yeah, I was so nervous going up on stage in front of Joey Diaz the first time, because he was just in the back of the room, like, just super high on edibles, just not impressed with anybody's shit. And I had one set where I talked about my days in college and just out of high school, where I decided I was going to get some pussy finally. And I went around town in my college town approaching women in public and starting conversations, baby. Because I was that 19-year-old virgin, all right? And so I figured, you know, it was about time to end it. And so I would go out in the middle of the day. I would go to Ross. I would go to TJ Maxx. I would go to Walmart. And I would be looking for bitches and conversation starters. What's up, baby? You know, and a lot of times you get blown out, but you learn as a man. It's just like, you know, bombing on stage as a comic. You learn from all of your failures, and you pick yourself up and you do it again the next day. And you get better and better and better, and soon enough, you be taking them bitches from the street to the sheets in less than an hour. On that coffee date, baby. Some of that sweet nectar. Them titties come out. All of a sudden, the titties are coming out. You know? And so I had this whole bit on stage about how, you know, I went around town with this pickup artistry. And, you know, got into some weird situations. You know, I approached one chick on the college campus who I didn't realize I had approached and got blown out by before. She had totally changed her hair, and I didn't recognize her. And I went up to her with the same rap. Hey, what's going on? My name is Nick. How are you? And she was like, oh my God, you're a stalker. I was like, oh, fuck. And she went and reported me to the Student Conduct Council for asking her out to coffee. Oh boy, the evils of a coffee date. And I had to have a sit down with these stuffy feminist women who are like, oh, we just want to investigate your motivations, Nick. Nothing nefarious, we assume. I'm like, I'm just a dork trying to get laid. What the fuck do you not understand about this situation? You know? And before long, I wasn't buying anything in the Ross Dress for Less or the Walmart. So the employees got wind of what the fuck I was doing. I was going there and picking bitches up. And so they banned me from Ross Dress for Less and the Walmart in my college town. But I have this whole bit I do on stage about it. And Joey Diaz told me he liked that shit. So I was like, right on, Coco. We're out here trying to do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Nick Jordan himself. You want to follow me on Twitter, it's at I am Nick Jordan. I'll post the podcast audio in full on all the podcast apps under Outrage Cast. Like the stream if you like it. Share that baby out if you want to get the word out. You know, we're here speaking the truth with no chaser. You know, we're getting it in, baby. No teleprompters, no notes. Off the top of the dome, straight white males kicking it real. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Always a good fucking time. I will catch you bad motherfuckers tomorrow night. And we're going to get back into it, ladies and gentlemen. We keep on rocking, baby. We're out here in Hollywood. You know, we're not signing on to the New World Order, but goddamn it, we're taking it over. We taking over. Yeah, dope. No sneaking here. No subverting. All right, you bad motherfuckers. I'll catch you tomorrow night.